and techs are looking at them saying, yeah, you got to deal with us now. The question is, Harry Douglas, I wonder how they're going to handle all those expectations.
Check out more from Freddie and Harry weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Exclusively on ESPN Plus, UFC 300, Saturday. Witness the biggest event in mixed martial arts history and the most stacked UFC pay-per-view card ever. Featuring 2 championship fights and an explosive BMF title fight. UFC 300, Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Buy it on ESPNplus.com/PPV.
Coming to you live from the Superbook Sports Studios in Kettering. You're listening to Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, happy Tuesday. Welcome in. It's the Kinner Kev Show. Old school radio only today, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. Mr. Kev Nash, welcome.
What up, though?
Happy Tuesday.
Good Tuesday to you, young sir.
We're off and rolling again, just on 1410 Wing AM today. Chatterbox Sports, they are carrying the Prasco Park Invitational today. 4 baseball teams, Cincinnati, Wright State, and a couple others involved in that as well. So that's up on the Chatterbox Sports Network right now. So we're just live on radio today. So there you go.
Try saying that 5 times fast.
Prasco Park. Chatterbox Sports live on Prasco Park. Chatterbox Sports live on Prasco Park. Chatterbox Sports on Prasco. Yeah. We're getting close. We're pushing it. Push it to the limit. Nonetheless, college basketball officially donezo.
Over.
For both the men and the women. Of course, we talked about some of the fun stuff coming out of the weekend on the women's side. Of course, last night was the men's championship game, of course, and we'll talk a little college basketball throughout. I know that Coach Calipari released a statement to Big Blue Nation saying goodbye, saying that he's talked to other teams and him and his family are discussing some things. I thought that was a very weird thing. Obviously, they haven't finalized the deal in Arkansas, but basically saying farewell before he says hello to his new family over in Arkansas. So we'll talk about that coming up here in a moment. But figure we can tip off the show like we always do with what's trending in the world of sports, local and nationally, of course. How about this? So we talked about it yesterday. Dayton guard Kobe Elvis has entered the transfer portal. Okay, and again, averaged 9 points a game, just under 10 points a game, 9.4 points per game, 3.5 assists, 2.4 rebounds per game in this past season. So he's in the portal. Quite an interesting wide range of teams that have reached out for his services.
Okay.
UCSB, we've seen Murray State and Samford, Richmond and Virginia Tech, Washington State, DePaul, Utah, and Michigan. Those are the teams that have so far reached out to inquire about Kobe Elvis's services.
Definitely a wide range.
Yeah, that's why it's kind of interesting.
You know, we got the high majors, the mid majors, trying to reach out to him. I wonder what he's looking for. What is he looking for? Is he looking for, a bigger role in an offensive scheme? Is he looking to latch on with somebody that can get some money from? I wonder what he's looking for in the transfer portal, because I honestly thought he had a good situation going on here at UD. I mean, obviously don't know his money situation, but I mean, he was a starter. You're a major cog in the situation that they had going on with the Flyers. I wonder why he would want to leave this situation.
I know I have my fun with poking at the very dull offense of the Dayton Flyers, but I'm joking, but I'm not. That could have something to do with it too. This is a guy that has played a lot of years at Dayton, and it's kind of a surprise that he entered the portal. But I do think the offense has something to do. If you're a post player, playing an AG system is fun. It's centered around you, no pun intended. If you're a guard, it's not as fun, at least over the last couple of years.
Definitely if you're not a shooter.
Yeah.
The shooters, I'm sure they love this offense. He's not a shooter. One of the biggest things that I noticed this season is the lack of a floater from his game. Hey, I'm gonna shoot a jumper or I'm landing up off the glass. I know I can't be the only person that said, hey man, might need to add a floater to your pack. So wherever he goes, hopefully he gets himself a floater.
Hopefully he floats there nonetheless. But Let's see. We're starting the show here today. So, of course, that's when it's time to start mowing the grass outside a radio station. So stop me if you've heard me complain about that before during my couple years here. All right. Well, let's stay in. Jesus,
Ooh,
there it is. Loud.
it
Right
up.
there. I think they could hear me. I mean, they just it's like a motorcycle gang outside the dang studio now. But Indiana, we'll stay in the portal here. Indiana State forward Robbie Avila, Milk Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The list goes on and on. The guy of many nicknames. He has entered the transfer portal, and the All-MVC first-teamer averaged 17 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. And there is rumors, of course, that he could potentially join his head coach who left Indiana State to take on the St. Louis job. We were talking before, the A-10 could be a very interesting conference next year. If Deron Holmes comes back, that's a hell of a player to keep an eye on. If Avila goes to St. Louis, that's a fun player to keep an eye on. With Duquesne, the situation right now, that Duquesne's one of the favorites to potentially land Bronny James. So can you imagine the A-10? That'd be one of the most interesting non-high major conferences out there if you get Milk Chamberlain, Bronny James, and then, of course, as we just talked about, Deron and all that stuff. It'd be a very interesting conference nonetheless.
The arena would be jumping.
Yeah, I mean, there'd be plenty of interesting characters to go watch at the arena, no doubt.
Indeed.
All right, next up, the Arizona Cardinals have the number 4 pick in the NFL draft, and everyone has just assumed that they're just going to take Marvin Harrison Jr., and that seems to be the case, but they are not locked in. They're locked in on Marvin Harrison Jr., but they're not locked in at staying at number 4. According to reports, the rumors out there, the Cardinals are seeking 3 first-round picks to move down for number 4. If they can't get that, they'll just settle for Marvin Harrison Jr., I guess. I know it sounds wild. I read that I'm like 3 first rounds for that, but you got to think there are a lot of desperate teams out there who are maybe a Marvin Harrison Jr. away from being Super Bowl contenders, not just this year, but for the foreseeable future. One team that honestly comes to mind, it is the Cincinnati Bengals. That's too aggressive of a move. It's not in their DNA, and I'm not even suggesting that they do it, but you're about to let T go. You've moved on from, obviously, Tyler Boyd. You're going to sign Ja'Marr Chase, but if you have Joe Burrow, Ja'Marr Chase, and you have to give up 3 first-rounders to get him, which they're not going to do, but I wouldn't have a problem with that. Spend your money elsewhere and fill it, but that keeps the explosiveness of the offense going for the next 3 or 4 years until they have to make a decision. But it won't happen. I'm not saying it will, but there are some teams. It's a wide receiver needy league. I mean, you look at the teams that are contenders. I know the Chiefs have won back-to-back, but I don't think that the blueprint is a comfortable one of, well, we'll just load up our defense and hope that we're okay enough offensively to go win one. There's a reason that teams still even ignore that blueprint and still go flashy over just the defensive approach. So I don't know. They're going to be picking at number 4, I guess. I don't see a team doing it, but I understand if they did.
I can't believe that anybody would trade 3 first-round picks for any player, especially in this draft. I mean, especially look, we're Buckeyes. We love Marvin Harrison Jr. I've been like the main advocate talking about like, hey, man, everybody talking about neighbors this and Roma Duze that. Like, yo, those dudes are great players. But they're not better than Marvin Harrison Jr. as a prospect. But like, as deep as this draft is with wide receivers, why in the world would you give up 3 first-round picks for Marvin Harrison Jr. if you can get a Rome 5 picks later, or you can get, I don't know, Keon Coleman in the 2nd round. You can get all these other guys later that, I mean, yes, Marvin Harrison Jr. expects to be elite, potentially a Hall of Famer, but like, Randy Moss doesn't have any jewelry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? T.O. doesn't have any jewelry. You know what I'm saying? Deion Branch does, though. So, like, for the Cardinals, absolutely dangle it out there. Like, hey,
there
man,
is Tony.
Yeah. Exactly. Dangle Marvin Harrison Jr. out there. Maybe the Bengals do it. Maybe the Kansas City Chiefs do it. Maybe, I don't know, the Minnesota Vikings do it. I have no idea. Maybe somebody does it and you get a ransom and you're able to build your team for the long haul, because guess what? You're more than just a Marvin Harrison away from competing. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you're able to stack your roster with a whole bunch of draft picks, for them, that's perfectly A-okay. I remember something very similar has happened for your Dallas Cowboys. They traded away Herschel Walker for a whole bunch of first-round picks. That turned into Emmitt Smith. That turned into a Troy Aikman. That turned into their dynasty. So, hey, love Marv, but I don't think he's worth 3 first-round picks. Goodness gracious.
So the other thing we're making a mistake of, too, is assuming that dangling the number 4 pick means they're dangling Marvin Harrison Jr. out there. Keep in mind, there are aggressive teams right now like the Minnesota Vikings and others who are wanting a quarterback really bad, too. So I think what they're saying is maybe not, hey, teams are going to want to move up to number 4 to get Marvin Harrison. They may be wanting to move it to number 4 to secure getting the quarterback that they desperately desire. And one team like that, I think that this has a lot to do with the Vikings. There's been reports that the Vikings are very, very aggressively looking to move up to secure getting a quarterback that they really, really want, which, of course, J.J. McCarthy is a name that keeps being thrown around as a quarterback that they really, really want. So, yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr., I don't think is technically the one that is the equivalent to the value of those, but nonetheless, it'll be interesting. It's wild to me that we have not spent much time on the draft. It's a loaded draft.
Oh,
okay. The Bengals have a mid-level pick, and all this. Like, there's plenty of Buckeyes, interesting Buckeyes in this, nonetheless. So, we'll be amping up our draft coverage coming up here in the near future. No doubt about it. Friday Night Lights. How about this? You're a Boomer Sooner fan now.
Indeed, horns down, Boomer Sooner, baby.
So Oklahoma, their season opener against Temple has been moved up one day to Friday, August 30th. It's the first Friday night home game in Oklahoma Stadium history.
Really? Maybe I'll be going to Oklahoma.
I'll be calling high school football.
I'll let you know how Oklahoma is.
Boomer Sooner. There you go.
Boomer Sooner.
But, look, it doesn't. Look, I have no problem with this, especially if, it's Temple. It's a night game. Regardless of what night it is, it's a night game. And anytime you can get a night game in, that helps with recruits, all this, that, the other. I know here in the state of Ohio, people get really defensive about their Friday nights.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want Ohio State on Friday night. That belongs to high school football. But I'm here to tell you, I know that teams, they should care about high school football because of recruiting, this, that, and the other. But at the same time, there's a way to make more money on a Friday night and get in front of more eyes. They're going to do it. But Ohio State's not a fan of it either, and I doubt Oklahoma is. But it sounds like they're choosing to do this.
It's a TV thing.
Yeah.
It's
a network thing.
We got to understand, like, the schools don't want to do this. The coaches definitely don't want to do this. We heard this a billion times about athletes and coaches being creatures of habitat. They're used to playing on Saturdays, whatever the time is, but they're used to playing on a Saturday. This is all the network situation, them trying to fill their commercial blocks, them trying to make sure they got good programming on to get eyeballs on the television. This is all generated from the TV networks. And like I said 1,000,001 times before, I don't care. I don't care that the teams don't like it. I don't care that the fact that the coaches don't like it. Then give the networks their money back because they're paying you a crap ton of money to have your TV product. So, hey, they control the times. You have sold your soul to the devil in that situation.
Next up, so yesterday we talked about the Iowa-South Carolina Women's National Championship game on Sunday, and we were wondering what that number was. We know that the most watched game on ESPN before that was the Final Four matchup between UConn and Iowa, 14 million views. There was even more on Sunday. The Iowa-South Carolina National Championship game averaged 18.7 million viewers. That makes it the most watched basketball game, men's or women's, college or professional, in 5 years. That is a massive number for basketball. Forget men's basketball, women's basketball. 18 million people tuned in to watch Iowa and South Carolina this past Sunday. That is huge. That's huge.
We talked about that game in nauseum, but the fact that so many people were tuned in to watch the game, and they got a good game too. Especially in that first half, like the way that Caitlin Clark and Iowa came out guns a-blazing. They took an early lead. They had Caitlin Clark with 18 points in the first quarter. You had the undefeated team, like, kind of shell-shocked until, Dawn Staley basically went to a hockey lineup, said, you know what? I'm putting in a whole different 5. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like she was choosing her poison, like, all right, do I want the scoring 5 or want the defensive 5? All right, I'm going to go with the defensive 5 to start out. Oh, that's not working. I'm going to go to the offensive 5. And then in the second half, she made a mix of the offense and defense and ran away with the game. It was a great game. I'm glad so many people tuned in and enjoyed the game.
All right, next up, last one here. Actually, not last one, but this is an interesting one. So Dov Kleiman tweets out a couple hours ago, interesting move here by Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh. So
cheater.
I don't know how much. Yeah, the cheating head coach Jim Harbaugh. If you're listening, Shaw, cheater. So this was tweeted out earlier. Jim Harbaugh has made some locker room changes. Not only are player lockers rearranged numerically, but each player nameplate now shows their recruit level coming out of high school. So 5-star all the way down to not recruited.
Yeah, I get it. I don't have a big problem with that. especially the way the locker room is about to be in a year or two. Is going to be a very young roster. Like if you do this like with a very experienced team, like that's not going to fly because those guys aren't going to be on that. But like he's bringing in that new culture and it's going to, bring some energy to the situation. So I don't have a problem with that.
Who has it better than the Chargers?
Everybody. Everybody in the AFC West.
All right. Well, that was what's trending in the world of sports, local and nationally, of course. But when we come back, Justin Jefferson, Kev, says he is jealous. He's jealous of his former teammates, Ja'Marr Chase and Joe Burrow. What is he jealous of? We'll talk about that when we come back. We'll have more college basketball stuff to get to as well. Calipari says goodbye to Kentucky. And, of course, what does that mean for the coaching and for the college basketball landscape? We'll also talk about last night's men's national championship game coming up here in a little bit as well because, well, did you stay up for it? 9:30, the tip, 9:40. It was a late tip just by the time they got everything. Nonetheless, we got a lot to get into. But as I said, Justin Jefferson says he's jealous of his former LSU teammates, Bengals wide receiver and now Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase. Why? We'll discuss next.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The forecast: showers likely, 53 tonight, rain and 66 tomorrow. Thursday, more showers and 68. Rick Schrepp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over. And if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard to reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
You can use your phone at a doctor's office. You can use your phone at a football game. You can even use your phone at an amusement park. But one place you should never use your phone is behind the wheel. Fines now start at $150. So remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Pros save big every day when you buy in bulk at Lowe's. Save 10% when you buy 68 or more select OSB sheathing. Plus, save an extra 5% every day on eligible purchases when you use your Lowe's business credit card. Visit us for the materials you need. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. 5% offer subject to credit approval. Exclusions and terms apply. See store lowes.com/credit for details. U.S. only.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead.
With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one?
We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery?
we can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit, hims.com/joy.
Make the hiring process work for you. With Indeed's end-to-end hiring solution, you can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
1410 ESPN Radio gives you 5 straight hours of local sports talk every weekday. Don't miss Off the Bench with Trace Fowler at 1 p.m., followed by the Kinner and Kev Show from 3 to 6 p.m. The best local sports talk in the Miami Valley, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio and on the iHeartRadio app.
And we are back. It's Kinner Kev Show here, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. We'll return to the Chatterbox Sports Network starting tomorrow. They're carrying a baseball classic right now over in Cincinnati, so we'll be back on their programming tomorrow. We'll also have the return of Off the Bench with Trace Fowler. Tomorrow is the first time you'll get to hear Marty Brenneman and Tom Brenneman on 1410 ESPN Radio. They'll be interviewed together on Off the Bench with Trace Fowler. So tune into that tomorrow, 1 o'clock, and then that leads right into our show at 3. Looking forward to that on their show tomorrow. We're Dayton's radio home of the Cincinnati Reds. They'll be back in action. They had a big win last night against the Milwaukee Brewers in Game 1. Game 2 coming up here tonight, Game 2 of a 4-game series. 6:10 coverage begins, 6:40 first pitch. Game 3 tomorrow night, same time, and then they'll wrap up the series on Thursday at 1:10. So we'll be knocked off the air on Thursday, and then they won't return home again until the 19th when they welcome in the Angels. As far as that's concerned. So we'll be giving away tickets for that Game 1 on the 19th against the Angels. So we'll be telling you how you can win those coming up here in a moment. We got a lot of bobbleheads we'll be giving away as well, so make sure you keep it locked in here. We got a lot of contests going on right now.
Indeed. Oh, so, we got a Mother's Day right around the corner. And, everybody loves their mom, of course. But I know a lot of people around here love the Reds as well. So we're asking you to text in pictures of a picture of you and your mom to 937-518-1410, and you will be qualified for a pair of tickets to take your mom to a Reds game.
So again, text a picture of you and your mom to 518-1410. Everyone who texts that picture will be automatically entered into the drawing to win those Reds tickets so that you could take your mom to a game anytime this upcoming season. You'll get more information when you register nonetheless.
And we'll be making sure that you take your mom and not take your buddies or anything like that.
Yeah, no doubt. Don't miss out on the opportunity of a lifetime, by the way. We're giving away 2 tickets to any major U.S. city of your choosing with airfare, hotel, accommodations, and VIP level experiences included. Don't forget to share this with your travel buddy to increase your chances of winning. Of course, we have the winning word for you here for this hour. So head to wingam.com and click on the Choose Your Trip contest, and you'll enter the winning word money, hopefully. Enter the winning word money for your chance to win the Choose Your Trip contest. And again, that's at wingam.com.
Now, we're not eligible for that contest, but if we were, where would you go?
Where would I go?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not the most I want to go to Vegas, and I want to go to Vegas with friends. I've only been to Vegas, with there's nothing wrong with going to Vegas with family, by the way, but you want to go out and you want to drink, you want to gamble, and you want to keep stuff in Vegas that you can't bring back home with you. You want to go to Vegas for those very reasons.
You want to do Vegas things.
I want to do Vegas the right way. Not Vegas, not all Vegas things. There's some weird, creepy things you could do in Vegas. I want to get in trouble for that.
No, it's legal out there.
Oh, geez. Well, you know what I get paid here, so the Vegas prices, you know. Let's get away from that conversation before I am eligible to win that prize.
Right.
Justin Jefferson, Kev, says he is jealous of his former teammates, Ja'Marr Chase and Joe Burrow. He goes, I love them together. I love the chemistry that they have, but it's definitely some jealousy on that I have on that side. And of course, I didn't think it was that big of a quote, but Bengals fans, you know, locked on Bengals, all of them, they get locked on it. They drool over it. Oh man, Justin Jefferson coming to Cincinnati. Kev, of all the wild rumors that people jump on social media, I think in order, the craziest one was Joe Burrow was going to take less money to keep everyone there. That was my favorite.
Right.
My second favorite one was that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be able to keep Ja'Marr Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Burrow moving forward. That one was hilarious too. But this is my new favorite, that Justin Jefferson is going to find his way to Cincinnati. You can't afford T. Higgins. What makes you think you're going to be able to afford the most expensive wide receiver in football, Justin Jefferson, and probably soon to be the next most expensive wide receiver in football in Ja'Marr Chase? And they all do this thing where, oh, we know, we're just having some fun. No, you're not. You're not having fun with it. You want to chime in so that if it happens, you could be like, haha, I told you so. I'm here to tell you it's not going to happen. Why is this little quote? Now, I'm falling for it. I'm talking about it on the show. But, Kev, every little Bengals outlet out there, they're having fun with it. They're putting it out there. Bengals fans are eating it up. Oh, man, he wants to play in stripes, man. He wants to play in stripes. Come on.
Just having a little fun. Just a little fun. Just a little bit of, hey, man, could you imagine those guys being back together? Man, you know, if Ja'Marr took a little bit less and he took less, then maybe we could make it work. It ultimately is not going to happen.
Well, then I'm going to have fun too, man. Justin Jefferson in Cleveland, man.
Yeah.
Might happen. Him and Amari Cooper. Look out, dude. Amari Cooper, by the way, the AFC North's best wide receiver the last couple of years, leading the touchdowns, yards, games played. I mean, just saying. Can you imagine the AFC North's best wide receiver, Amari Cooper, and Justin Jefferson? It might happen. See how delusional I sound? How come it's just a little fun when the Bengals fans do it, but I'm delusional when I say it.
Nobody said that.
I'm delusional.
Fun.
If I actually believe that, that's I'm looking at the camera like it's on today. I have no clue why I'm looking at the camera.
Because your
camera's off today, yeah. But nonetheless,
I mean, rewind to think about it like this. Rewinding a couple years ago, would you imagine that Deshaun Watson would ever be the Browns quarterback? You know, like the year after his best season in the NFL, did you ever think in a million years that, hey, man, we could have Deshaun Watson as our starting quarterback?
The reason I could say that about any quarterback coming, I mean, it sounds weird, but yes, realistically, that could have anything could have happened. But the reason this can't happen. There's no way it can financially happen.
Yeah, that is correct.
That's the difference. And by the way, yes, it sounded weird. That's why on the show when it broke that day, I was like, wait a minute, what? Now my little different reaction. I mean, this is about as, you know, a Browns quarterback as you can get right now with the way he can't get on the field and all this stuff. So nonetheless, but yeah, we're off and rolling here on a Tuesday. But Ja'Marr Chase or Justin Jefferson said he's jealous of his former LSU teammates who get to play together because of their chemistry and everything else. But look, you know, is what it is. They ain't going to play together. Pro Bowl, maybe they could, you know, be on the field together, the Pro Bowl, you know. So if they ain't going to get back to the Super Bowl, there's a very good chance that they'll all be able to play in the Pro Bowl, you know, pulling on each other's flags and stuff. It's cute. It's adorable. Good stuff.
Playing catch down at LSU at a pro day.
Yep. But so you said you had a thought about the draft coming up because the NFL draft, which, by the way, that's what, in less than 3 weeks. It's kind of wild that, you know, we went most of last week and this week without really talking NFL. That's one of the more NFL heavy segments that we've had in quite some time. But the draft coming up around the corner. There's a lot of question marks but there's not. There's two needs for the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Right tackle, wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's still a lot of holes. I mean, you have the second worst defense in the NFL, second worst run game in the NFL. There's a lot of holes that need to be filled, but when it comes to prioritizing the needs, you know, we're going to talk a lot about that with the Bengals here in the next coming weeks. But you had something about the draft you wanted to throw out.
Yeah, I want you to find the bust. Who's going to be the bust? Obviously, quarterback is the most important position in football. Right now, looking at a lot of mock drafts, they have at least 4 quarterbacks going in the first round. Some have 5, some have 6. So I'm going to run down some names, and you just tell me who's the bust. All right, Caleb Williams.
I think we can do a little.
Okay,
we can liven this up. We can liven this up just a little bit and try to get some of that, you know, NFL music in the background or something go in the background. But go ahead,
brother. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, Spencer Rattler. Who's the bust? Who's going to be the bust?
Did you say JJ?
Yes.
He's at the top of my list. Bust. He's at the top, not because I'm hating, not because of any of that stuff. It's just I know people want to continue to jump on that whole, oh, you know what? I'm jumping on the like, to me, if Harbaugh truly thought that he is as good as what he keeps saying he is, but yet barely threw the football, bragged about games where they didn't even throw a pass in the second half. As I've stated before, if you have a Joe Burrow and you're handing it off all the time, you're not handing it off all the time. If Harbaugh had LSU's Joe Burrow in that offense, he's not handing it off as much as he did. There's no other logic out there that can prove that, okay, he had an elite arm and he was an elite quarterback, but we just chose not to use his strengths. That to me is a very, very weird, especially with some of the close games that they had that they could have lost by continuing to just hand it off and not utilize his arm strength. That's just a very weird thing to me. I know there's a lot of chatter, but look, this has like Zach Wilson. There's Zach Wilson vibes to this. I'm going to say J.J. McCarthy is going to be the biggest bust, especially if teams like the Vikings and others trade up to grab him.
Okay, fair enough.
Now, you talked about Andrew Luck and stuff too. One thing that I found interesting, Andrew Luck was used like that in Harbaugh's system. Andrew Luck threw for 37 touchdowns, 32 touchdowns and 32 touchdowns in back-to-back seasons, after that, in his last 2 years in college. So to me, even though he played in Harbaugh's system, he still looked like an elite quarterback in Harbaugh's system to where J.J. McCarthy did not.
Fair enough.
But the underwear Olympics, man, more power to you. I'm glad you threw a nice spiral.
Yeah. Who's the surprise?
Who's the surprise of those?
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler, because he was talked about a lot about early in his career, but if you read about how many people are impressed with some of the camps and stuff that his pro day and all that, a lot of reports out there that he could be a sleeper in this upcoming draft.
Okay. Who's the sleeper?
The sleeper. What's the difference between a surprise and a sleeper?
The sleeper, the guy that literally comes out of nowhere. Like you just talked about, like Spencer Rattler has a rep.
So maybe I'll say he's the sleeper.
Okay.
Spencer Rattler's the sleeper because no one's talking about him. Surprise, though. Repeat the quarterback names. We're talking about the QBs, correct?
Yes. And this could be either or. This could be good, bad.
Surprise, like surprisingly bad, surprisingly good.
Yeah. So Caleb, Drake May, Daniels, McCarthy, Penix Jr., Bo Nix, Spencer Rattler. And if it's the same, it's the same.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of could be checked off in the same, but, Michael Penix Jr., too, could be a surprise because a lot of people, despite how dominant he looked in the playoff, I know he was kind of average in that championship game, but there's still not a lot of people who are willing to give him his flowers and everything like that. I think he could be a surprise from that standpoint. A sleeper to me is Spencer Rattler because no one's talking about him. Penix is one that everyone's pushing down just because of his performance in the championship game and obviously his injury and all that. I think he could be a surprise in a good way when it's all said and done.
All right, last one. Who's the man? Who's the man? Who's the guy from this draft class that, like, man, how didn't we see that coming? Like, oh, my goodness, he's the next guy. He's the C.J. Stroud. He's the Joe Burrow. He's the man.
So this isn't like it's going to sound like a hot take, but it's not. It's going to be a lot to do with what the Bears have been able to do in the offseason. And to me, Caleb Williams, there's a lot of QBs that have come in with a lot of stock and with a lot of expectations. Joe Burrow's checked that off. I mean, Trevor Lawrence hasn't, but, he was not put in the best of situations either, right? Like Joe Burrow came in, at least had T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon to work with. Trevor Lawrence, he had Urban Meyer just driving the Titanic directly into the iceberg. I mean, it was not good, right? So I'm going to say Caleb Williams, but the reason I'm saying Caleb Williams, he's not like other QBs that are coming into a bad team. I mean, most teams are picking first for a reason. But you look at the Bears, I don't know a quarterback that's come into the league. You're going to have DeAndre Swift. You're going to have DJ Moore. You're going to have Keenan Allen. I mean, you're going to have, and then all the weapons on the defense. This Bears team is built to win now. And there's really not a whole, there's weaknesses, but there's not a whole lot of glaring holes with this Bears roster. I don't know the last time a top pick has come into the league and has had this many weapons to work with. Like, I'm going to be very critical of Caleb Williams because I'm not going to give him the same shake that I will other rookie QBs who come in and don't have a lot of weapons around them. It's going to be viewed different. We saw what C.J. Stroud could do last year with a really not the sexiest of rosters. This is a sexier roster. I expect more out of Caleb Williams. I think he's going to come in. He is set up to be the guy. I think he's set up to succeed. I'm going to go with Caleb Williams in that.
I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback out of all these guys. And to be perfectly honest, I had Caleb Williams at 3. I like Jaden Daniels 1, Michael Penix Jr. at 2. Obviously, the injuries are a part of the thing, so you kind of have to factor that in. But I remember us having this same exact conversation around this time last year with the Carolina Panthers and all the moves that they made in the offseason to make their offense better. And things just was a train wreck for everybody involved. Not only Bryce Young, but they went off and fired the head coach and the offensive coordinator, and all those guys that they brought in just didn't pan out. Now, granted, this is a whole new regime with the Chicago Bears, and they're trying something that they didn't do with Justin Fields, try to get the weapons before he showed up. But I just think that the fact that Jaden Daniels does something better than, in my opinion, than Caleb Williams is, which plays inside the pocket and extends plays with his leg. Everything that I see from Caleb Williams is Russ, like how Russ used to play when he was at his peak with the Seahawks. I mean, I don't think that's sustainable for him. Everything's kind of ad-lib as opposed to like a extension of plays. Like, I don't think that's going to fly in the NFL. They're going to get that up out of him. And then obviously their head coach was the head coach of the situation where they were very average at best. So what's going to happen if they are average? What's going to happen if they win 5, 6, 7 games again this upcoming season? They're probably going to move off from him, and then he's going to have to get a new head coach the following season. So I would go with Jaden Daniels as the man.
Kinner Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. If you want to chime in on the conversation, we'll open up the phone lines. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call in if you want to jump on anything we've talked about. Again, so the biggest bust, the biggest surprise, the biggest sleeper, all that fun stuff. Picking up the draft talk again, as that's less than a few weeks away, or just a little over a few weeks away, I should say.
Ready.
Nonetheless. But all right, we'll step away for a few moments. When we come back, Coach John Calipari heading to Arkansas, or at least that's the rumor, which wink, wink, it's just because it hasn't been finalized. But he has at least bid farewell to Kentucky. We have some audio from his farewell. In fact, no, I forgot I'm doing this wrong. When we come back, we're going to hear from John Calipari right here on the Kinner and Kev Show. No, I'm going to do it the right way. Exclusively. We're going to have John Calipari on the show when we come back. That's not how you do that. What you're supposed to let the listeners know is we have an audio bite, a sound bite, if you will. A clip from John Calipari bidding farewell to Kentucky. Also, Dawn Staley, could she coach in the NBA? There's a team that is interested in bringing her on as the next head coach, according to Rachel Nichols. We'll talk about that when we come back as well.
We plant trees because people need trees, and when planted in the right place, they have great impact. Trees help slow climate change, filter our air and water, foster biodiversity, and strengthen our communities. They create the kind of transformational change the world needs now. April is a month filled with opportunities to care for and plant trees. For planting resources, contact an Ohio ISA certified arborist who can help you learn how to take the best care of your trees. Visit trees4ohio.org. That's trees4ohio.org.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more. And then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-temperature performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through April 23rd, get a $15 gift card when you buy 5 or more quarts of Edge or Edge High Mileage Full Synthetic, only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Claim based on Sequence 3 H test versus API SP test limits.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Did you know Chevrolet of Troy is offering savings up to $10,000 off new Chevys and the lowest prices in the area? We take pride in being your premium dealership to buy your new Chevy for the absolute lowest price, guaranteed. Over 100 brand new Chevys to choose from. Customer service is our top priority, and we make financing easy. Being a full-service, state-of-the-art premium dealership makes Chevrolet of Troy your absolute best choice. For your new Chevy, 1375 South Market Street and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
Save $70 on select sets of 4 Nokian tires now through April 15th only at AAA Tire and Auto Service. Details at AAA.com/mycar.
The Reds are on the radio.
Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Can use some of our more fun returns since we're not on the old tube today. Let's kick us off if you use any of this stuff. We'll be back on the Chatterbox Sports Network tomorrow. They are working a baseball classic over in Cincinnati right now. The first game they have up, it's a Wright State game, so there's that.
Raider up, baby.
So Kev threw out just some of the top quarterback names that we're projecting to hear on draft day. Again, we're talking draft. We haven't talked NFL in it seems like a minute. That's a long time for us.
Definitely.
I mean, that's the as far as that's concerned. So David Shaw says, let me set the settings on this so people can read this. Bust Caleb Williams. A lot of people believe Williams could be a bust. The reason I'm not putting him in that department is because he has set up the most to succeed. Like last year, the quarterback for Alabama that went to the Bryce Young. I thought he was set up. I mean, I like Adam Thielen. I thought they had DJ Moore at the time. Like I thought they had dudes, but it didn't work. Caleb Williams has everything. You have Keenan Allen. You have everything you can ask for as a rookie quarterback coming in with the number 1 overall, in a team that has all that money and they spent a good chunk of it too. Mm-hmm. And I just, that's why I can't put him in that bust category. But if he is a bust, you're going to know it right off the bat because Joe Burrow, who had T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, and you could tell the team needed other pieces, but you could tell right away who he was.
Right.
You could tell right away who C.J. Stroud was. You could tell right away these quarterbacks are coming in. They're just ready. I'm not saying they're a finished product, but they're ready. And I think that's the thing. Caleb's going to have – we're going to know within the first month, not if he's a complete bust, but we'll know if he is a for real quarterback right off the bat or not, if that makes sense. Surprise, Shaw says Bo Nix. And then –
oh, no.
And then the man J.J. McCarthy.
I wonder why.
Yeah, homerism at its finest right there. But no, thank you, Shaw, even though you're wrong. No, I'm just joking. Brian Hild says bust is definitely JJ. So, yeah. Doug Toby.
I know I should have left his name off.
Yeah, that was going to be the fun.
Yeah, because like I'm not going to get any like real stuff. I mean, you feel that way, obviously. But some people are just going to say your bust is because he played at Michigan. And I knew Shaw was going to say the man because he played at Michigan.
And if he does come in and kill it, then great. But like I said, luckily Michigan won a national championship because from what we've seen from him at Michigan, if let's say that they failed because they didn't get good quality offensive play, and then he comes in the league and kills it, and it's like, wait, you were sitting on that talent the whole time and not trying to, but they won a championship, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
But that would be how I would have approached that, Kev. Like, you know what I mean? Like from that perspective, like, okay, you won running the ball, but you also chose to make it more difficult.
Right.
If that's the case. But you know, they won. So they cheated, but I mean they won. Doug Toby, maybe the Browns will have Watson and Winston on the field at the same time. Are the Browns going to have any rookie contracts in the next year or two? Sounds like there could be a depth problem in the next year or two. I don't think so. Look, the Browns operate like the Rams, just they don't have the Super Bowl to go with it. The Browns operate like the Rams because what the Browns are going to do, they're going to like the Rams. They didn't really rebuild, Kev. They kind of had to reset a bit.
Retool.
So they had to trade some guys away to get draft picks back. And then guess what? Now you got a Puka Nacua and you got some of these. So that's what the Browns are going to do. They're going to move on from like they're going all in for. I feel like they're going all in for this upcoming season. And then I think after this season, they're not going to blow it up, but they're going to move on from some contracts. They're going to trade some guys to get some draft picks back. And then they're going to come right back. The Browns are going to be fine from that perspective. They have to win. They have to win. Like from that perspective. I'm not saying, they're fine. They're going to win a Super Bowl. They should. They're a Super Bowl contender with that roster. Like they were a Super Bowl contender last year, super beat up, and now they're going to be healthier this year, knock on wood. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But no, I'm like everyone said that about the Rams, and the Rams are still they're very, very good. They're still very, very good as far as that's concerned. And you could take a shot at the Browns front office, but the Browns front office, I think, has made some of the best moves in the AFC North over the last 2 or 3 years. You guys don't have to like the QB move, but that roster is stacked considering the limitations you think they should have for a quarterback that's making $45 a year fully guaranteed as far as that's concerned. But
Rainmaker.
Keith, shout out to Nikki, by the way.
Indeed.
Keith Tolliver, bust. He says Bo Nix is a bust. Sleeper is JJ. Like putting people to sleep, Keith, or like, you know, I'm gonna be snoring like crazy on Vikings games or whoever trades him. No, but the man, he says Daniels, like you, I think that's who you picked.
Yeah,
and then surprise will be Spencer Rattler. So, as far as that, Shaw says, okay, we shall see. There's a difference between not having to throw and not being able to throw. There's not an example of another elite quarterback that didn't throw the football. I know Andrew Luck's name has been thrown out there, but he had significantly more pass attempts, significantly more yards, significantly more touchdowns. So he didn't throw it a lot in Harbaugh's offense, but he sure as hell looked like he knew what he was doing. I'm just saying. You know, JJ was too busy sitting Indian style next to the goalpost, pretending to be zen, trying to relax, all while doing it in public so people would stare at him and create, you know, chaos. Like you weren't, he was just sitting there. He's an attention seeker. People who want to be zen go into a quiet room and do that by themselves. They don't go out in the field and sit next to a goalpost and pretend to be sleeping, which is what all fans will be doing of whatever team drafts Mr. JJ. See, you shouldn't have put JJ in there. You're right. My bad.
So I hear a lot of people talking about Spencer Rattler being like the sleeper. Where's a good landing spot for Spencer Rattler?
So is he? You look at that situation. I'm trying to pull up the draft order too. I don't think he's a first rounder.
No,
he's not a first rounder.
He's not in any of the CBS, NFL, or the ESPN mock. He's not in the first round.
I'm trying to get to the draft order right here.
But like that ultimately always turns out to be a good thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? The biggest example is like Dak. What's the guy that with the 49ers?
Trey Lance, but that didn't work for him. But Mr. Purdy.
Yeah, Brock Purdy. I mean, he even
Relevant.
worked out for Lamar being the last pick of the very first round, going to the Baltimore Ravens, going to an organization that, you know, is known for winning, stuff like that. So, you know, if he does land with somebody where he doesn't have to start right away, and then he comes in, hits the ground running like a year or two later, it can work out for him. But like, where's a good landing spot?
The Jets.
Really?
The Jets, you won't like this. Your Pittsburgh Steelers. I know they're not going to use a high draft pick on him, but that's a team that they don't need a starter this year. It's going to be a team that doesn't need a starter this upcoming season. I could see the Jets. I could see the Steelers. I would be silly to not say the Browns. I don't, you know what I mean? Like it'd be wild to say. So the Dallas Cowboys. There's a lot of people out there that believe this is the last year of Dak Prescott in Dallas. So the Dallas Cowboys could be an interesting figure as far as that's concerned. I mean, who else would you look at in that? I mean, he could be a good backup to Jordan Love, but I feel like I'm doing that weird, creepy thing that everyone does is if you have a black quarterback, you need a backup black quarterback as well. I don't know why we white people do that. We have like an obsession with that. Like, they have a black starting quarterback, so they can't even look at another white quarterback. You know, I don't get that, but I feel like I just did that on accident. I don't know, but my co-host is black, so I could get away with it. No, where do you think? So you're not as high up on him.
No, I've never liked Spencer Rattler as a quarterback.
Even as an Oklahoma fan?
No, he got up out of Dodge because he wasn't good enough.
You got rattled.
Exactly. So I maybe Minnesota, like in the second, third round. But
what if they draft JJ or a starting quarterback in the first round? Do they take him?
No.
Then no. Okay.
But like I could see that. I could see him going there. They roll out there with Sam Darnold for the first half of the season or first couple games, and then like things don't go their way. Then he comes in there with Justin Jefferson, Addison, and those guys. Like that's his game, throwing the ball all over the lot. Like that's what he wants to do. I could see that working out for him. With
Seahawks or
like
Rams? Seahawks have a quarterback now, so they're okay. It has to be a team that doesn't need a quarterback in 2024.
That wouldn't be bad, Seahawks.
The Rams and Seahawks could be interesting. They have weapons too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they do like the long stretch runs with the Rams on the bootlegs. He's good at that. He's athletic enough for that. So yeah, those are good spots. All three are good spots for him. Just a spot with established talent already on the team, and that he doesn't have to start right away.
But and the Seahawks, they're good because they have a black quarterback, so that makes sense. They, that checks off. The Rams, though, that doesn't.
And DK Metcalf,
so anyway,
JSN,
the JS. I mean, that receiving core is pretty damn sick. Like it's gonna be wild if they go without an elite level quarterback. I like the quarterback, but if they go without an elite level quarterback, that'd be a waste of that trio because I don't know how much longer they can keep them as far as that goes. We are Dayton's radio home of the Reds. We got Reds baseball coming up immediately following our show today. 6:10 coverage begins, 6:40 first pitch right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. But let's go to the phones. We got Jerry, Mr. Jerry. How are you, sir? It would help if I had the phone on.
How
there
are
you
you?
go. Restarted. I screwed up. I didn't have the phone on for whatever reason. Mr. Jerry, welcome. How are you?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
Good. Hey, so my thoughts on the draft quarterbacks. I agree with Kev. I think Daniels is the best of that bunch. I think the bust, I'm leaning more towards Williams because he had a great offensive head coach with great weapons, and he didn't look that good, to be honest, in college this last year. I'm a little skeptical of him. We'll see how that works. You almost made me wreck the car, Justin, because I turned you guys on and I got in the car. I was driving. I heard you say Amari Cooper was the best wide receiver in the AFC North. I about wrecked my car, and then I realized you were talking about like in a different context. So
truth,
that's just laughable.
Hashtag truth.
No,
hey, he's led the league. He's led the AFC North in receiving yards and touchdowns the last 2 years. So why not? Guys can't stay healthy.
Gotten hurt. That's the only reason.
Your best ability is your availability. Go Coop.
Whatever.
That's just because you couldn't get the best out of him like the Browns can. You're not as good an organization as the Browns.
Shoot, go look at the numbers. I think his numbers were better in Oakland than they were in Cleveland. There, buddy.
Now go back to wrecking your car, Jerry. Come on,
check that out.
Don't actually do that.
The other thing I wanted to mention, you guys were talking about potential replacements for Coach Cal, and I heard them talking about this a little on ESPN Radio earlier. What do you guys think about them going after Dawn Staley to coach that team?
First of all, Dawn Staley, I would love to see get a chance to coach a men's team one way or another. I just don't think Kentucky would have the cojones to go that route. I don't think Dawn Staley, to me, the personality she has, like the way she owns a room, and this isn't a male-female thing, but for a female coach, I don't think there's another female coach out there. I mean, Pat Summitt was one that I always thought could do it, that owns the room. And there's no disrespect to any female coach out there, but I think Dawn has the respect of the media and everyone, and I think basketball in general. I think she can go in and coach any level of team. That was one thing, too. There's an NBA team that's curious in her right now that's looking to get an interview with her, and that's the Hornets. So that's interesting, too. Look, I say that's 0-0 happening, but it's not the weirdest idea to throw out there. But
I don't think that you're giving the folks down there in Lexington enough credit, Kinner. I think this is definitely a situation or a move that they would do.
I would applaud the hell out of it. I'm just saying,
we laugh and we think Kentucky and we think a certain thing, but like,
what do we think?
Tubby Smith was their head coach at one time, also led them to a national championship. All the stuff that Coach Cal was dealing with when he left Memphis, they still made him head coach. Rick Pitino had issues.
They just want a winner.
They just want to win. They want to win. And if they think that Coach Staley is the best person for the job, I think they would absolutely give her a chance. Now, do I think they going to hire her or go after her? I don't. I think the play here is Nate Odoms. I know he came out and said, no, I don't want to go there. But money talks. And guess what, Nate Odoms? You're a basketball coach at a football school. You've won the SEC regular season and conference tournament 4 times since you've been there. 4 times. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. They're a football school. Now, you're a basketball coach. Go to a basketball school. I mean, shoot. And look at, like, the guys that he was able to bring in there. I mean, potential. Yeah. Like, he's bringing in talent. This is the move, not only for Kentucky. This is the move for him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be as a Kentucky fan. I wouldn't be mad at that at all. I just don't think the way he came out and made that statement. I just don't know if he'll turn it. They can turn him around. I'd love to see her. I'd love to see her get a chance to coach that team. I really would. And her basketball knowledge, but just the fact that what a groundbreaking thing it would be, and she deserves it, right? Like, it's not like, oh, it's a token hire. I think she's one of the top 5 coaches in the country, bar none. Women, men, it don't matter. So I agree with you, Kev. If they're open-minded, I think they ought to at least consider that opportunity. We'll see, though.
Well, Jerry, appreciate hearing from you, man. Go Coop.
Right on, guys.
Yeah, it's Kinner Kev Show here, 1410 ESPN Radio. We have a couple more minutes. Let's go to Shaw. Shaw, how are you?
Not bad. How about you guys?
Chilling.
Hey, you turned that down? Yeah, he turned it down. Okay, we're good. All right, Shaw, my bad. You can go. Keep going.
It's not just Michigan why I think he's going to be the best quarterback in this draft. It's not. I know it. No one's going to get past it. No one's going to be able to see past the fact that I wear maize and blue and I'm a fan of the national championship team. But he's 27-1 at the University of Michigan, and I understand the team was wrapped around him and yada yada yada. He threw for almost 3,000 yards in this offense this year, and I know it doesn't sound like a whole lot to either one of you two, but in this offense, throwing for basically 3,000, he was 9 yards short of 3,000 yards. That's a heck of a year. And oh, by the way, he completed 72% of his passes while doing it.
Yeah, against that awesome schedule of theirs.
Hey, you guys got it coming up this year, so I don't want to hear it.
That's true, including the easiest game of the season, what they end up with in late November.
Right, 3 times in a row that Michigan's whipped that tail. So, yeah.
It's the coach that cheated to win those games is gone. He's in the NFL now.
We're not talking about him. We're talking about J.J. McCarthy, are we not?
Oh, okay, well, that's okay. You got proof.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But your hatred for him.
I don't hate at all, dude.
Right. You don't have no hatred towards him whatsoever.
I have no respect for a cheater. That's all.
And this is why everybody laughs at your 90% of your takes on this radio show. Because you just come on here and you speak nonsense about stuff that makes no sense.
So 90% of the people that laugh at me, they support. You say 90% of people support cheating.
It has nothing. You keep bringing that up like that's going to change somebody's opinion on something. That's not even what we're talking about.
And you keep bringing up what you do, thinking I'm going to change my mind on it.
I didn't even talk about the team. I'm talking about JJ.
That's what I'm talking about. The cheating quarterback, JJ. That's what I'm talking about, too.
JJ didn't cheat. He led his team to a national championship. He's 27-1 at the University of Michigan.
Hey, you're speaking loudly. He's trying to meditate. You're talking too loud. Shh.
You just wish you had a quarterback like him.
I do not. What are you talking about? Not even a little bit. I'll take Will Howard.
If you had JJ McCarthy on this past Buckeye team, you guys won the national championship, not us. But your coach was too big egoed to go after him, and you got what you got.
Nah, I don't want JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, I wouldn't want a winner either. You're right. I wouldn't want a winner. I wouldn't want a guy who just comes in and is going to be a leader of men in your locker room, and a guy who just goes out there and does what needs to be done. And we'll throw in we'll throw him a little dig because his team ran the ball 35 straight times in the second half. We're just going to ignore the fact that Michigan couldn't block Cam Robinson on the left-hand side of that defensive line. We're just going to overlook that. So because to make Kinner feel better, Michigan was supposed to go out there and throw the ball 42 times against Penn State and get their tails beat in. Would that have made you feel better?
Why would they get their tails beat in?
Because they couldn't block that defensive end, which had nothing to do with J.J. McCarthy. Did you even watch a second of the game?
I did. I mean, I fell asleep for obvious reasons, but
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
but when I woke up and looked at the box score, I was like, "That's a crap."
I fall asleep when I watch winning football too.
You used to DVR stuff. What are you talking about? Now, you say, "Oh, I would kill for a quarterback like Jay."
Yes.
You know who I'd rather have? I'd rather have Connor Stallions. The real reason you guys won the national championship. That's the MVP.
Right.
That's the real MVP right there.
He wasn't even around the program when Michigan beat your tail in November. So can we come up with another talking point?
No,
Seriously.
you think that just because he left, that all the stuff that he left behind, all the knowledge, all the stuff that he cheated to acquire,
I'm just
matters. Saying, and I could see why you think it doesn't. I could see why you think it doesn't.
I'm not the only one.
Oh, I know. There's a whole Michigan fan base that agrees with you. I know.
Most football people said it didn't matter.
Okay.
Even the NCAA came out and said it didn't matter.
Okay.
You keep running your mouth about stuff that just doesn't matter to no one.
I'm not running my mouth. I'm just stating facts. Cheater.
In your opinion.
Facts.
And you have to say it to make you feel better because your team got
I feel fine, though. That's the
How'd
thing.
that Missouri game go, by the way? How'd that Missouri
It's
game
a meaningless
go,
bowl game. I always say that. I ain't changing my opinion on that. If they would have won.
Bowl game, but if you'd have won it, it'd have been the best thing.
Ask Kev. I didn't care about the Rose Bowl games that they won.
I talk to you both all the time.
Well, then if you talked.
This is a conversation between you and me.
Me and Kev have talked before, and I said, hey, I don't really care about the Rose Bowl win that the Ohio State has had. I didn't care about the Utah win. I didn't care about that. I definitely didn't care about the Missouri game either. That was pointless.
Well, college football don't care about bowl games anymore. That's why they're going to go to.
They don't care about cheating either.
Oh,
have a good night, Shelf. Kinner Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio. I'm sorry, it's been a while. I had to poke the bear. We haven't had a conversation in a while. It's been a while.
Oh boy,
we got Reds baseball coming up after the Kinner and Kev show.
The Reds are on the radio.
As the Reds look to win the right way and not cheat to do it. Anyways, what up, Ro? Ro says, "What up, fellas?
What's happening?"
Keith Tolliver says that the sleeper. Who did he say was the sleeper? I got to go back and find his. My bad. Keith. The sleeper was JJ. He says the sleeper because we really don't know what he can do. Rattler to Dallas. So that's why I said Dallas, because Dallas can draft a lot of their deficiencies early.
Mm-hmm.
They could draft a lot of their deficiencies early, and then I think Rattler could be a third round pick still. Maybe. Do you think where do you think Rattler goes? Second or third? Third. That's where I could see a team like the Cowboys or someone maybe taking a flyer out on him nonetheless.
Spencer Rattler.
All right. Kinner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey, let me tell you about the advantages of driving with my friends at Cordell Transportation. First of all, for the new year, they're offering brand new equipment to drive. They purchased new equipment, and not a lot of people could say that, but they've got it, and they're ready to roll with you. Cordell Transportation is offering an incredible $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months. If you're an experienced Class A CDL driver looking for excellent benefits, home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights,